The video is muted.
Two people in the chat, Anush and String Dog, are saying audio is muted.
Oh my goodness. Hopefully it's all good now.
Yeah.
Let us know, guys, from YouTube chat.
I think Keti has to
audio is muted.
Keti has to start singing so that we know the audio is working. So
I should start singing.
Singing? Yeah, just to know that the audio is working.
Okay, you have to play on guitar then.
Okay, there we go.
See, I think a common mistake is when you're in OBS.
It's all good now. Great.
It's all good. Okay, great.
Yeah, it should be.
Maybe
working.
let's start over.
That's
Maybe
usually...
start over.
Okay, and action. All right.
Cut 2. Yeah.
Cut 2. Exactly. All about the technical difficulties. That was on me. My apologies. But Keti was telling us about her amazing performance in the Rapid and Blitz yesterday. Yeah. So, what else were you saying there? Still listening intently.
I think I had too much of chess already for today's. And I will take some break. I need some break now.
Well, Keti, tell us, what was the tournament? Yeah, how did you get involved in it?
The tournament is a Polish-Hungarian friendship tournament, and what I'm doing here, I'm not Polish, neither Hungarian. Yeah. But, there were some players from India, from some other countries too. I just don't remember now. But mainly we're people who stuck here in Poland. You can travel. This tournament was 8th edition already. I played previous 2 years. This is my 3rd year, and I remember last year there were 1,400 participants. So it was
wow.
A tournament.
That's cool.
A lot. It's a lot of people.
Well, I'm really excited to see the clip of Keti playing with a serious face and everything. But tell us, guys, what do you think of the chess? Is it Chess 960 event that's happening in St. Louis at the moment?
Yeah.
Well, really exciting stuff. I mean, first of all, as an old guy, it was very predictable, but still kind of comforting to see Kasparov blunder, just blundered magnificently. And clearly it's not just being old, but he hasn't been playing. He's been doing other political stuff and all this other stuff he's got going on in his life. But that was already I think for most chess fans, well, if you want to say who's the best in the world of all time, it's going to be maybe Carlsen, maybe Fischer, or maybe Kasparov. So to have those two guys even play is a really historic event. Mm-hmm. And of course he did great against Carlsen, and that was beautiful. But then blundering just kind of again and again, but especially with the one against Fabi, was was just predictable. It was just a predictable thing that was going to happen.
Yeah. I mean, some people were saying that it was a mouse slip against Fabiano. Was that true, or was it just a really bad move?
Depends whether you believe in mouse slips or not.
Oh.
Some people believe there's mouse slips and other people
like Santa Claus, and you either believe it or not.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh my goodness.
Another really interesting thing about Chess 960, of course, is the idea is just that players who don't know anything about openings, or openings are weaker, would have the chance to compete or be more competitive. And so one of the interesting questions going forward of this 960 stuff is, do you see a difference in ability, in scores, when they're playing 960 versus otherwise? So for example, I have friends who are older guys and they're like, oh, I would go and make the GM title if only we could play Chess 960.
Yeah.
Well, maybe that's true, but there's an interesting debate. And Kostya, who is on the show with us many times, me and him like to debate the importance of the openings. I like to say it's less important, and other people, of course, are really huge on saying it's important. Even people who are lower rated really think it's very, very important. But anyways, I think for my 2 cents on it, the chess 960 debate is ultimately on what do you feel about the openings? Do you feel they are a controlling factor in the game, or don't you? If you don't, then it's like, just a cool variant of chess. But if you do, then you're like, well, I'm all in on chess 960. Yeah.
I mean, there's some preparation involved in chess 960, isn't there?
A little bit.
A little bit.
What can you do? Like analyze all 960 positions? Like what?
Right.
Yeah, write a book. Write 960 books about it.
What is the best setup for each opening? But for each
Yeah.
setup, starting position, of course.
Exactly. H3.
I want to say that I would say in Fischer chess, the understanding of chess becomes not, there's no immediate threats or attacks. Usually, it's very rarely that anything is decided right away by a, like attack on f7 in e4 e5. There's no such stuff like that. Mostly I'm playing here and my opponent is playing there. I'm trying to anticipate what's going on, where to develop all my pieces. So that's basically understanding and feeling of the piece harmony and where they belong. And I think Kasparov did very well, and then just the tactics failed him because of lack of practice and lack of. But I'm assuming he's doing some blitz or tactics, but that's not nearly enough compared to what those guys are doing.
Right.
And I'm not very surprised that Alireza is not doing very well there. Well, first of all, in such company, it's very hard to do well in any kind of chess. Although in blitz, I think he would be on top 3 in regular blitz or maybe rapid, right? But in Fischer chess, I think he's struggling because of lack of experience and understanding of chess and harmony of pieces. I think that's a crucial factor. Too bad to see Harry. I think Harry outplayed Caruana. He had like huge advantage or maybe winning one right before he just lost the bishop out of the blue.
I mean, there was a huge question there when Garry Kasparov and Alireza were playing each other, and Garry just kind of won the game, and it seemed effortless, right? And the question is, what is the difference? I mean, Ali is an upcoming chess talent, and Garry is of course like semi-retired, I'm sure, but he's really experienced. So what is the difference there between the two of them, and why did Garry win so easily, or at least seemingly so?
Yeah, maybe that was a misleading feeling. I'm just now checking the games with the engine's evaluation, because on that I was like so confused. I see Kasparov won. I didn't follow that game live. It's very late here in Ukraine to follow the games. Although I did follow one game or something. I didn't get my sleep, so that maybe is the problem. But I think he won just because of he understands chess better, and they had an end game, and he just played better and used the mistakes of his opponent. But I wouldn't say it was a one-way street.
Oh, okay. Awesome.
Yeah.
And if
Mykhaylo, have you? Oh, go ahead.
Sorry. Go ahead.
I was going to ask you guys what your experience so far with 960 is, just personally, and do you like it, and do you think it has a chance to go forward just based on that personal experience?
Yeah, I played just once, so I don't have personal experience. So maybe or twice, yeah. So maybe someone else can chip in.
I have never played, not even tried. I have seen some games, but yeah, never tried.
Yeah, I've played a few.
I think it's a fun variant of chess, but I don't see a future of it. I'm gonna be very straightforward here. I don't think there's a future for most people in the world to enjoy it, because it's even more complex than the chess game itself. I don't understand what is going on in those games. I like who's better. I don't know. I'm just looking at the maybe one side is just completely crushing it. It would take me like 5 minutes to sit like this to figure out one position, right? It's not like that in regular chess. We can explain. So, for example, it's like a few seconds, and I think I can understand what's going on, and can explain to the broad audience who knows basically how pieces work.
Mm.
And with chess 960, I think it's just impossible. It's just like nobody knows what is going on unless you're using engine all the time. But even with the engine, I'm not so sure if they are still so good in evaluating them. So it's not, maybe for top level, it's fun to see who's opening, like MVL, for example. I see Mykhaylo Oleksiyenko. He's not playing well. And I think that's because his openings are so amazing. On toy, he plays only 2 openings, right? It's basically Najdorf and Grunfeld, right? And he knows them perfectly. Nobody can do anything again with black, and only e4 with white, if I remember correctly. Maybe a little bit c4, but maybe I'm good. So his openings are really top notch, and you take that away, and suddenly he's not as good anymore because he has to. He never played any other pawn structures, basically, only those he's familiar with.
Mm.
And for those people who tried many different openings with both colors, it's so much easier to play Fischer chess. So
Yeah,
that could be a
just
contributing factor.
Transpose.
Yeah.
It makes sense.
Yeah. No, I played.
So
a few
unfortunately,
times.
I don't see
Yeah.
future for
Oh,
that.
960.
Maybe I'm. Please change my mind because I may be wrong. I do want them to succeed. I want all kinds of chess to succeed, but I don't think this one will.
Yeah, it's a funny thing. Like, I think it's very telling that all 3 of you haven't really experimented with it. I haven't really either. And I think it's mostly psychological. And I'll try to explain it like this, at least for myself, because I think my personal experience will relate maybe to other people's, is that friends, for example, have tried to get me into Go, just as an example. Right? Go might be a very beautiful game. They say it's more difficult. They tell me all kinds of things about it. Beautiful, yada yada. And when you go to Asia, it's amazing. You see it everywhere. You see they got a 24-hour news channel just about Go.
What?
But yeah, but for me, like, chess is already enough. It's more than enough, and I feel like I don't want more things in my life. I want less things in my life. I don't want more things in my life. I want less. And so I think that's for a lot of chess players. Like, it's not just 960, of course. There's all kinds of new rule variant things going out there where, like, maybe you don't castle, maybe I don't know. They've got a lot of them out there now. Maybe you don't castle until move 10 or something. And so for me, I don't feel the need for all these other things. And so maybe that's because me and Mykhaylo are old guys. Maybe
I just wanted to say that. I'm with you on that, and that's because of age.
Whereas, for example, I grew up playing Bug House, and for fun, I still love Bug House. What a great game. I love playing that. But I only like playing that in social environments. I don't like playing it online. I like to talk smack, and I like to put the other person down. I like to make them feel bad.
Oh.
That to me is what Bug House is
about. Jesse was the school bully.
I'm the Bug House bully. I definitely am the Bug House bully.
I have very funny history about playing Bug House. I was in Italy for Italian League, and there was Peter Licom. And it was a very nice evening, lots of players. We were drinking, playing Bug House, and yeah, we were in teams, and it was our team turn to play with strongest guys. And I had to play with Peter Licom with black pieces. And I was like, wow, this is so cool. I texted my friend, oh, what, I'm playing against Peter Licom, and so on and so on. So the game ended. We had very nice evening, and in the morning at the breakfast, we were talking. He was very funny because he didn't know me, and then when I introduced myself, we had little chat, and I was like, "Oh yes, I thought this girl is very confident. She plays against Peter Licom, and she doesn't care. She just texts on the phone. She doesn't watch on the board." But yeah, I was like very, very excited about this fact.
Cool.
Jesse, what do you think about introducing new rules to chess or chess 24, Jesse February?
Oh,
Do you
thanks
need
for
more
specifying
more
it.
kinds of chess or no?
I mean, classical chess or just the normal standard variant is difficult enough, and I mean, I'm still struggling to figure that out. Why would you add some more variants? But to be honest, it's nice in like a social setting, like you were mentioning. It's nice to just play like different variants, like Bug House. I also rarely enjoy. King of the Hill. I mean, you get different variants in chess.com, like King of the Hill, and on Lee Chess,
Never tried
Racing
it, by the way.
Kings. Yeah, yeah, you definitely need to try it. It's fun. And then you get Crazy House as well, which is like Bug House, but with only 2 people playing, which is cool. So you capture your opponent's piece and you put the same piece on your side of the board, which is nice. Yeah. Yeah. I also enjoy the talking smack part, by the way.
Yeah.
Highly
Oh,
recommend.
yeah, that's very fun.
Yeah.
Well, it's just it's actually a different culture, right? Like I was just talking the other day, it's really kind of interesting is when you play a classical game of chess, you know, when you win, you can be very happy. And when you lose, you can be really upset. But I think one thing that's very interesting about classical chess is there's a culture of not showing it until you're away from the board, until you're in your hotel room. You can cry and you can hit the wall and you can scream, but you can only do it when you're in your hotel room. In Bug House, you just let it go. You just let all your emotions out. It's a totally different culture.
Yeah, pretty much. And the curse words are flying.
That's right.
You flip the table. Love it. Yeah, but Keti, I really want to watch that clip of yours. I haven't seen it in its entirety, but I want to play it. Are you guys checking it out on YouTube or Twitch? And I can
Yeah, I'm
press
watching
play.
on the Twitch, so yeah, let's see it. I want to see
Okay.
it.
But Keti can run us through it. Okay, it's begun, and Keti is looking all serious on the board. Who are you playing against here, Keti?
Yeah, I played this round 4. We had both 3 out of 3, and then I saw the pairings, and I was playing against Krasenko, and he is one of the players that I was analyzing the games and books, and I had his name always since my childhood. And of course, I was very excited, but also very focused because I wanted to not to lose. And it was a very interesting situation when I had an option. I had a pair of bishop, and then I said like, okay, maybe I will trade now my bishop to knight, and then I will have opposite side of bishops.
Okay.
And then I can try. This opposite color of bishop can be also tricky, but yeah, you know, when you play against strong opponent, the result draw is also a result. So I traded this bishop for knight, and then sacrificed a pawn, which I got it later back, and then we had rook endgame, and yeah, it's so tricky to play rook endgame. He was pushing a pawn, and then at some point, I thought like, I don't want to give too much, so I have to come up with some idea, and so I grabbed one pawn on g6, and then I decided to sacrifice this rook for a pawn and just to pray.
Oh, this is great. Yeah.
Yeah. Control, it was 3 minutes plus 2 seconds. So at this point, we already have both seconds on the clock, less than probably. And then, yeah, I was so focused, not nervous at all, not nervous at all. And that was the moment when
Hey.
I offered a draw, and
And then you flagged. Yeah. Okay.
I started shaking. I was like, oh my god. I was shaking for next 2 rounds.
Oh my goodness. Wait,
Yeah.
did he flag? What happened at the end?
No, he offered draw.
He offered a draw. Okay. Oh yes, that was the draw. That's amazing.
Since
Yeah.
I heard the draw, he said something, and it was like, it should be
Yeah,
definitely.
King E4 is an obvious offer, draw offer, just to
Yeah.
change everything. Yeah.
Because after playing this King F6, I just make sure that King won't come closer to me for
Mm-hmm.
to make him try. And it's like, okay.
Yeah,
No
you got
one
the
can.
biggest
What?
smile on your face. I love it.
Yes,
When
it
did you play this game?
was yesterday. We played on
Oh, yes. Okay.
yesterday. Yes, it was round 4. And I really wanted to use my white and also to show a little bit of. But after that game, I lost the game like without playing maybe in 10 minutes because I think I was still very excited. And I thought that's the end of my tournament. But then I was like, oh, come on, it's only 4 rounds. I have to play 13 rounds. So focus, and then everything went just perfectly well.
Well,
Congratulations.
Keti, I have to ask you a question. Now, I thought when I saw that video, I just assumed that was before the COVID thing, but you're saying that was yesterday. So there's no masks, people are pretty close, you're shaking hands, all that stuff is going on. Wow.
The thing is that we have to use masks when we leave the playing area, and thanks God we don't need masks on the board, because for me it's just so annoying.
Yeah,
I
yeah, of course.
some allergy on my face. I can never get rid of it. But since the moment you leave the playing venue, just to, I don't know, to go outside, there are securities, and they just don't never allow you to go out without mask. I experienced that also on my side.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we have lots of things there. We sanitize hands often. And yeah, I think I handshake today 9 times.
Yeah,
Oh
yeah,
my
yeah.
gosh.
That's amazing. I mean,
Washing my hands right away.
Just as long as you don't touch your face, you're good to go. You can shake
Yeah.
everybody's hands and then you just wash them and that's it.
Thinking not to touch my face, or just
I don't know. How can you not touch your face during the game? I'm always all over the place.
Yeah.
I don't know
Use
what
your
habits
arm.
are of you guys. Always like this, like this, like this, always.
Mhm.
So like, I don't know what would I do over the actual game.
Yeah.
But
Today,
like this.
after so many chess, I just could not hang my head on my shoulders, and I was like just holding my head like this. But yeah, you're just getting used to it.
Yeah, you know they say in Poland when you open up a tap, vodka comes out. Since vodka is a disinfectant, no one in Poland has COVID. So there you
That's
go. Yeah,
That's funny.
so there you go.
No, that's great. That was very inspirational for me. I feel like it's really hard. Like, for example, in that tournament, there's people who had traveled to get there, and here in America, it's like you're not even supposed to travel in between states. And so it's like amazing just to see that you guys did that. Great. That was really cool for me to see. We're supposed to have our first tournament this weekend. It's very controversial. People don't think it's actually going to happen, but it would be our first tournament. It would be happening this weekend, or excuse me, soon, this next coming weekend. And I don't even think it's going to happen, but that's the dream. That's the dream.
Is it a chess dojo tournament?
No, but a real tournament,
Mm-hmm.
a real
That's
tournament where you
cool.
would shake somebody's hands and
Yeah.
sit down at a board and that kind of thing.
It's not even on the table for us yet.
Right. I can't actually. I don't think it's really on the table for us either.
Yeah.
Actually,
4 tournaments already on the chessboards.
What
wow.
a flex. Oh my gosh, I'm jealous. I want to
One-
play
Yeah.
again. That's cool.
1 classical chess, and then 3 rapid and blitz tournaments.
Huh.
Wow.
And this is the end, as I see. Some other events are coming up, so
But it looks like the condition in Europe is getting better. I mean, there's a lot of traveling going on. Things are going back to normal.
Mm-hmm.
Sort of normal, I would say.
Sort of,
Sort
yeah.
of, yeah.
Yeah, I know some US chess players traveling from America to Europe and Europe to America, so um, I hope things will go back to normal soon.
Right, right. Actually, in that regard, why don't it was funny that Krasenkov was featured in the video because he wrote something on Facebook, and maybe I'll just read it to you guys because it has everything to do with what we're talking about today. I think also with 960. Okay, so here's what he says, because 960 was, of course, a virtual event. So he says, let me explain what many players and myself are concerned about. It is much easier and cheaper to organize an online event. This is Krasenkov speaking, who we just saw in the video clip. The organizer doesn't need to rent a playing venue, provide equipment, pay for invited players, organize their stay, do a lot of the other work. So players will definitely agree to take part for lower prizes and appearance fees. Organization is trivial. Therefore, if organizers have a choice to play an over-the-board event or an online event, they will almost certainly choose the latter, i.e. an online event. So, and then talks about cheating and says, look, even though we have all these concerns about cheating, it's so much easier to do the online event that in effect, what's going to happen, he talks a little bit more, but his argument is that online chess is going to become the real chess, and over the board chess is going to become a secondary thing or just another variant of chess, whereas online chess will become the real thing. And so I wonder what you guys think about that.
No,
I know.
I will boycott.
That terrifies me, I would say.
No.
The world wouldn't be the same. If they figure out how to avoid cheating in a, well, sensible manner, like so that there's nobody standing over your shoulder, like, or 5 cameras and 5 microphones around you, which is not realistic, right? If they figure out, I don't know if it's possible. I don't think it's possible to figure that one out. I do hope to be wrong. If they figure out the cheating part, yeah, maybe you can look at it this way. People would earn more money because the organizers would save money on venues and stuff, and they could offer more prizes. Assuming usually you have the point is to advertisement, right? Where do they organize? Most of chess tournaments are held by enthusiasts who lose money on it, right? You have a sponsor. And but online, I think it's easier to advertise online events. And if they fix the cheating, that could be a new chess. Yeah, but I don't see, I do hope to be wrong, but I don't see how you can possibly make this case that like once in 15 moves you get a suggestion from, I don't know, somebody else.
Yes,
Which
also
is not that hard
playing,
to do. Yeah.
playing chess is not only winning a prize, right? Or some title. It's just a lifestyle for all the chess players and for me personally, because ever since I started chess at the age of 8, um, I had a goal to play as a professional, and it just became a part of my life, and it's my daily routine, and it is a good chance for me to travel. Like I have I have seen so many places around the world that you cannot do it with many work, many jobs. You simply cannot do this. I have so many friends, and I want to meet them and talk with them and get know them better. Uh,
Mhm.
and also, it feels so different to play chess. Uh, all the process of chess, winning a game, losing a game, uh, preparation, waiting for the first move, arbiter saying start the clock. This everything is just life, and this is what I personally like. And I don't know, I don't enjoy online chess, and if it's that's the future of chess, I think it's time for me to find a new profession because that's the life I
Yeah.
want.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think online chess takes away from the whole atmosphere and attitude towards the game as well. I mean, the one of the advantages of playing chess, and especially at a high level, you get a chance to travel, you get a chance to meet new people. And I mean, it takes away from that social aspect, especially when you're playing online. You don't get to say hello to your opponent unless it's in the chat. But I mean, 90% of the time, chat is disabled anyway. Not like you would say hello. Um, but yeah, I mean, taking. What about you, Jesse? What do you think? Because you posed the question of online chess becoming the new OTB.
Well, it was Krasenkov who introduced it, but right. This might really be generational, but of course, I grew up without an online experience. I'm very grateful for a lot of the online stuff. I want to say, like being able to play blitz chess with people around the world. Great, that's fantastic. I don't take it that seriously, but I enjoy it a lot. I really enjoy the fact that we're now able to do lessons with people all over the world. Also a very beautiful thing. But the over the board is definitely very important to me. I feel, and again, this is maybe my age, that the interesting thing about chess, and I think the thing that keeps people coming back to it, makes them addicts, if you will, is that there's a spiritual component to the game. And I love the online stuff. Like everybody else, I can spend way too much time in front of the computer, but I never feel a sense of spirituality when I'm with this computer. But if I set up my board and I either studying by myself or I'm playing against somebody else, and I can think for 20 minutes or 30 minutes about a position, oh my God, what a beautiful, joyful thing to have. And I don't ever get that in any kind of online environment. Also, as a fan, now this is another interesting thing. As a fan, I just actually a confession to make. Like we were talking about the 960, I'm kind of following that and I'm interested in it. But all of the online events, as a fan, they don't grab me. As a fan, they don't grab me. So, for example, the last thing that I was very excited about was the candidates tournament. What's the next thing I'm going to be excited about? The candidates tournament when it comes back. Then that's what I'm going to be excited about. There's something about it just as a fan too, like when I'm imagining these people sitting across the table from one another. Well, that's just a beautiful thing. There's a lot of tension there. And they get to see each other and kind of feel each other in the proximity, see their face. The totally different tension for me as a fan. Yeah.
When do you
So
think the
that's my 2 cents.
candidates?
Yeah.
Sorry, when do you think the candidates will return?
Well, they're
It's
talking.
official, isn't it?
Yeah,
November.
they're talking about very soon. It's now maybe that's not going to happen, but I think it kind of has to happen. But it'll be problematic. Like, for example, just getting Fabi into Russia, that's already not easy.
Oof.
And then he has to have the problem, he has to get back, so there's things like that which are logistical problems, but I'm hopeful that they can make that work.
There's a comment here as well. Sorry, you were about to say something.
Go ahead.
Okay, perhaps VR, so virtual reality, might help the over-the-board experience and the online experience at some point. Yeah, I don't know, virtual reality. Imagine putting on a whole like headset with like goggles to see some VR experience of a tournament hall, other people walking around. I don't know. I don't know. Oof.
Actually, Keti, when you were describing the waiting for the first move, looking in your opponent's eyes, and I almost teared up when you said that. It's been so long. Indeed, this tension, this feeling of you can then analyze with your opponent over the actual board, talking to one another about your feelings, about your thoughts. You can learn from your opponent. He can learn from you. Like it's impossible to recreate online, and yeah.
And you have a possibility to meet those people from that you studied chess, and then you can quickly compete with them on real chessboard, and then of course, really amazing.
Maybe one thing I'll expand with Cappy saying about the VR that's interesting to me is, as a fan, one thing that is a little bit like virtual reality that I enjoy and want more of as a fan is, back in the day, they would let the photographers into the chess game for the first couple minutes and then they all had to leave. As a fan, I really enjoy watching the games and the players' faces as things are happening. At the St. Louis Chess Club, there's a lot of that. And as a fan, I want more. I'd love to have, if I'm just watching at home, I want to see the board. I want to see maybe some commentary. I want to see like the faces of the guys going on at the same time. So as a fan, I want as much virtual reality as possible when I'm just watching at home for sure.
Yeah, I feel like also just natural behavior over the board, if you can see maybe your opponent's shift position, or I feel like that also contributes towards the psychological part of chess, and you kind of see if your opponent is getting nervous, or maybe it's a certain tells, right? Over the board where you're like,
Yeah, sometimes your opponent just makes a move and then does something like this, shoulder, and you're like, he blundered. Where is it? Oh, there.
Oh my gosh.
Which is not possible. Or for example, when you play a move and blunder. By the way, what do you do when you play the move, press the clock, and suddenly your eyes are like this? Oh my God, I blundered something.
You get
like,
up and you go for a walk.
Okay, that's your recipe. But some people, you get up. That's suspicious, So some people take that step into account. Some people can have poker face, like I cannot do that. I'm just like Kasparov. He's like always like, you can always tell by his face what he thinks about his position, right?
Yeah.
Unlike Nepomniachtchi, he's always happy with his position, I think.
Yeah.
At least that was my experience sitting next to him. What do you do, Keti, when you blunder? Hopefully never, but let's say you do and you realize the moment you press the clock. What do you have? Do you have any suggestions to our audience and me?
I just keep my face as it is, unless I blunder a piece like I did yesterday quite a lot, like blundering rooks left and right, and I was very emotional, like with this, putting my head on my head, but that's the end of the game, and the next is just resignation. I have to stop the clock. But in case if I see, because we always have this, like we analyze some position and then we make a move and then need some seconds to analyze that's a mistake, to understand it. I'm just keeping quiet, playing at the board, and I just realized that if my opponent don't won't make a move in like 2 minutes, if it takes like 5, 10, there is 0 chance that he sees. So I'm more confident after that.
Interesting.
And I'm thinking the very like I continue to calculate the variations, not making this moves immediately.
What about you, Jesse?
I can, I in terms of blundering, I feel like I'm pretty good with the poker face, but in general, I think I'm pretty, I don't know, I have a lot, let's call it a voluble body language. I try to be as correct as possible at the chessboard, but I think I am definitely more. I'm moving around and I'm kind of making faces and weird coarse noise stuff that I'm not even aware of, But yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I watched this TV series. Jesse, you please. What's your? You told already. You have poker face.
No, you get up, you run to the bathroom, and you say your prayers. This is what you have to do.
Yeah, I'm not very comfortable staying at the board. I don't know how much. Have any of you seen this Lie to Me TV series? It has like 2 or 3 seasons many years ago. It had some science behind it. So there was apparently this guy who could tell when people lie just by observing them. you know. And there's some science behind it, and apparently you can do, especially with the computers. You can, like, if you watch the video, you can analyze it. And it got canceled, but there was a lot of interesting stuff going on. Indeed, I'm afraid my body would give away that I'm angry at myself, and that I'm scared, and that all these emotions are so probably leaving for me. But I would say it's like everybody has her own ways of dealing with that.
Yes. What I love, one more thing, what I love about uh, a real chess board is that when you play very complicated position and you don't know evaluation, your opponent says a lot. If if your opponent is shaking, he's not confused, is confused. I have a feeling like no matter what computer says at the moment, but my opponent says that he has a very bad position. So this is also helping a lot to boost your confidence, and that's not happening in online chess.
Yeah, maybe his blood sugar was just a little low, you know, shaking like that. So I'm just kidding, by the way. Terrible joke. I'll sit here in silence. Yeah. Okay. Should we jump to the chessboard?
Let me tell a story that relates to this, and then
Go
let's
ahead.
do some chess
Yeah,
stuff.
go ahead.
So maybe I'll just introduce this. So, right now at CoChess, it's a new site, and like any new site, it's got some bugs we're trying to work out. And one of the things that I dream about for the site is that we start getting some new capability that you could call it VR capability or online capability. But basically what I mean is just stuff that you couldn't do before that now is available to people through technology. For example, the obvious thing would be if we could partner and work with Chessable. That's an obvious thing where we could, as coaches, we just have more capability. But let me tell you my new dream. So several weeks ago, we were here on this show, and Mykhaylo told a great story about how he was coached by Grabinski. And the way I imagine it, this is my idealized version of it. Maybe it was not this nice, but they would come into a room, and then there would be these positions set up, and then you would have to do it as a group. And then, if you got it wrong, oh man, then the guy would make you sit down again, and then you would have to figure out why you were wrong. And what's interesting to me about it is there's something special, just as there is with tournament chess. There's something very special about being part of a training group. Anyways, first, before I go into the dream, let me just say, I've been working on this calculation book. Oh man, Mykhaylo, you got me deep into this thing. His coach, of course, wrote Perfect Your Chess. And I loved that book a lot in terms of just having some practice puzzles to go with. But the dream that's interesting is like I'm working on this thing alone, and it's very interesting. And it's like at my own speed, at my own time. And I'm checking the answers myself. I don't have some coach looking over me. And so before I tell my dream, pardon me if this story is too long. Before I tell my dream, let me just say, I lived at what we called the Chess House 10 years ago. It was very beautiful. We had I am David Proust, I am Irina Krush, GM Josh Friedel, GM Vinay Bhatt, and at that time, I am Sam Shanklin. And one of the things about it was chess players are terrible people. And if you tell them, like, we're going to study at such and such time, they might not show up. It's like just a thing where like, it seems like an idyllic thing that we're all living together, but it was very hard to put structure into these guys' minds because like just getting GM Josh Friedel up in the morning, that was very difficult to do. But the cool things that we did do, we had a couple organized, structured sessions. One with Super GM Lev Sakis, and then my friend also Victor Mikhaylovsky also came and did a session with us. Very nice. So it's like we're going to study from here to here, and we're going to do X and Y, and then, for a limited amount of time. We're not going to go over the amount of time. It's just, this is what we're going to do. And so anyways, finally, I'm getting to my dream. Pardon the long story.
No.
And the dream is, there's two aspects of it. One is like, the big dream would be like, oh, me and Kostya Kavutsky is also on our CoChess channel. We go to Lvov, sometimes known by Russian speakers, as I was told last time, as Lviv. And we go to Lvov, we hang out with Mykhaylo, and he's like on us. He's on us for a couple hours a day, and he's like, buddy, here are your positions. Get to work. The clock is ticking. There's no other distractions. And, we stay there for a week or something. Oh man, what a dream. And for Kostya, that's more of a realizable dream than for me, because I've got kids now. But, we send Kostya over there, and, he works with Mykhaylo. Beautiful.
Great.
Maybe
Am I invited? Great.
Yeah, are you invited
You're
too? Right?
all invited.
I'm
We have a
inviting myself,
beautiful city. There's
Yeah.
lots of stuff to watch here, even besides chess.
Yeah.
Let's go,
Historic city
Keti.
with,
Go.
if you can.
I also want to be part of this dream.
Well, okay. And so here's the thing is that, that if we get it together on CoChess as a thing that happens regularly, it could be like calculation sessions with Mykhaylo, or maybe even Grabinski would like to join us or be part of it in some way, or we use Grabinski's problems, because Grabinski is apparently writing a new book, right? And the thing that would be for us to figure out is just, how does it work on a technological basis? Honestly, it shouldn't be that hard, but the idea would be everybody gets a position, and then they have to solve it, and there's X amount of time, and then maybe we talk about it after, but that would be for us to figure out. And I think, just as if you think about just the aspect of calculation, there's so many other aspects of chess improvement, but just calculation, if there were a time that people could sign up for, and maybe there was a level attached to it. It doesn't have to be necessarily a level, but like GM level problems with Mykhaylo or something like that. That to me is something that's very interesting as a coach and as a player. I would love to do that as a player too, to just be in there. And then it would be kind of like I was saying with the chess house, unless we had a specified time, unless we had a specified something that we were doing, it was too chaotic. People would get up and they'd be like, oh, I got to talk to my girlfriend now. No, you're not talking to your girlfriend. You're talking to Mykhaylo right here. You're talking to his positions, buddy. No more messing around with your girlfriend. I don't want to hear about all your other distractions. No, you can't make tea until the break. No coffee. And, that's what I'm saying. So anyways, that's my dream. I just wanted to put it out there. I think there's a lot of other things that we could do together as a site. But that is just something I wanted to put out there to you guys in the chess community as a dream that, other chess sites could do that as well. But I think at CoChess, that's one of the kind of things that I don't think would be that hard to do. And what we need, of course, is a community of people who maybe at different grading levels are ready to do it. And then also, just as a coach, it would be so cool for me to tell someone after we do a lesson and say, hey, I think it would be really helpful to you if you do one of Mykhaylo's sessions, doing the problems. So anyways, that's my story that I want to tell you.
No, it's amazing. Yeah.
Wow, that's so flattering. Thank you, Jess. Yeah, I would love to have the group lessons. I think it's a good idea for students and for coaches, because there's a spirit of competition. There's a friendship, there's relationship there. And you can assign, there could be like upper or lower limit for the levels, or like from this rating to this rating, so that it's not too hard and not too difficult. That could be quite useful for lots of people, and cheaper for lots of people to just chip in. So I also hope that CoChess would be able to do it soon. And hopefully when borders open, I welcome everyone to Lviv. We have a fantastic city and chess culture, lots of GMs. Like, it's hard to lots of GMs, lots of chess culture here. Just go visit, and we have a very rich history and architecture and coffee and places to see. And I just love staying here. I visited, I don't know, 35 maybe countries throughout my career, and I choose to live in Lviv, Ukraine. Okay, now I don't have any choice, but previously I could have chosen some other place to go. I could, I don't know, chosen another federation, another city, another country. You know, there's so many possibilities, and yet I'm here and I'm happy here. So you're all very welcome to visit when.
Mykhaylo, maybe something would be interesting to me. This is a little selfish to ask, but could you flesh out like maybe both versions of the dream? So like first, let's start with the big dream. And say me or Kostya wants to come visit you, and we, I don't know, have 3 or 4 people that come study with you. Actually, let's just do it like this. It's me, it's Keti, and it's Jesse February, and we go over there, and we're going to spend some time with you. What would it look like? Paint us a picture of like what it would look like if we came to visit you to do whatever it is you wanted. I assume just being from the Grabinski school, we would be doing a lot of calculation, but yeah, tell us what it would look like.
Yeah, I'm usually with one-on-one lessons. My approach is very personalized. Right. So I actually don't like questions from chat, like how to become this when I'm this rated, what should I study? Right. I say, I don't know. It depends on your problems. It depends on the time you can spend. So you really, like it's going to a doctor, you know, I have a pain here. What should I do? Just take this pill. Yeah, it may work, but it wouldn't solve the problem, right? It would just make you feel a little better, and that's it. So my approach is very personalized, but with several people, well, openings would not be the topic. It's very hard to find an opening that interests everybody. Mostly, yes, that's improving the calculation and initiative and active dynamic play, and basically active play with pieces. I have a good collection of positional puzzles, surprising solutions that are not obvious, and yet once you see them, they are great and the best. So, but mostly, yeah, that would be positions, and then of course analyzing the positions afterwards. Actually, we did that with Grabinski, and he would prepare a position, and we would argue. We were better players already, and we would argue that his solution is not good until Rybka showed up. The Rybka was first relative, or Ivan Hoe, like how many years ago? 15 maybe. Yeah. So some engines appeared, and that's it. We couldn't argue anymore. Because before that, you would have to figure it out yourself or find it in a book. Now you can do it with the engine, right? So, but yes, that would be a session of. So, for example, I can tell you we had, although that was a one-on-one session in Lviv. Alex Ipatov, who's playing for Turkey and lives in the United States, he in 2015, we had a 2-week training camp with him, just one-on-one. So there were training games, there were opening analysis, and there were lots of positions to calculate and solve and figure out, whether it's tactics, dynamics, positional decision making, end games all over the place. But that's how it would look like, and pretty similar with the online version. So I don't see a huge difference. Okay, from the perspective of what we're going to do, how we would feel about it, that's completely different. Online, even with just chatting like this, it's not the same if we were in one room. It's just not the same.
Well, okay, let's talk about online. Like, how long do you think a session should go? If we started putting this out there, for example, how long do you think people would last, and what would it look like?
It depends. For example, for children, it's like, I mean, you specifically. Okay, so 2 hours is a reasonable amount. 3 is quite hard. Right. 1 could be too little.
Okay, until we get hungry.
Yeah, you can have some snacks like during the game, although you cannot eat during the game now. You have to leave, apparently.
Not anymore, and I'm so happy for this rule. Opponent eats on the board. First of all, it's so annoying, and second of all, I'm also hungry.
Of course.
I just, yeah, okay, drinking water or coffee or tea, that's okay. But when we're eating stuff, food, chocolates, and so on, it's just too much.
And now you're making me hungry.
I want to address one question from YouTube. Nerdnace is asking, do you think? Well, it's actually quite to that topic of that Jesse Kraai was asking me about. Do you think having someone, a mentor, coach, or a peer, check your solutions and line calculations to puzzles/positions versus checking your own solutions is better, assuming the student doesn't cheap out and check? So, is it better to have someone to check your solutions rather than doing it yourself?
I mean, it's a
I
matter
have
of
an opinion
discipline.
here, but I don't want
Sure.
to put it out yet.
Okay, go ahead.
I don't want to put it out yet. I
Oh,
want
okay. It's a matter
maybe
of
Keti, what
discipline,
do you think?
right?
I think it's the best way is to do at least like together, to analyze together, not to write down the answer of the position and handle it to the coach or the person who helps you. That's, I think, is not helping. You can analyze by yourself, you can learn a lot, but when you have a conversation, other person might have very interesting idea or some words that will stuck in your head forever and you will never forget this. It can happen in end game, it can happen in, I don't know, middle game, about some ideas. It's about sharing. And I have a very fun story. When I was at the university, we had a lot of books to read in for one day, and it was so hard. So me and my friend, I came up with the idea to read one book. Like I was reading one book and she was reading one book, and then we were sharing all the main points, like all the main points. So the way she was telling me, I was sure that I read that book, and it's still here in my head. So we were doing this constantly, and I think that was the best work that we did. And I believe we can do something similar in chess too. Like maybe you don't have possibility to have a private coach all the period, but you can have a friend who is in your level, and you can just take a book or some course and start to analyze it, and then you can share your opinion and not talk too much, not gossip too much. That's my advice, which is very hard to
That
control.
part is difficult, huh?
Mhm.
But I like that. You're coming together and just sharing thoughts. It saves time, I'm sure, and effort doing that.
And I want to add to that, I completely agree with you, Keti, is that when somebody else is checking your solution, you're missing a valuable situation where they tell you you're wrong and you figure it out yourself, which is not possible when you're wrong and you check the solution, oh my God, I was wrong. And that's it. And you see the solution. And two valuable lessons are gone now. Right, you still haven't solved the position, and you didn't know what you still have high chances of making the same mistake again. But if you figure out where you were wrong, it significantly decreases your chances of making a similar mistake in an important game.
Maybe I'll just address a couple questions in the chat, on the Twitch chat.
Yeah.
So first, basic question. Is that the Laszlo Polgár book in the background? Yes, it is. Now, one thing I just have to admit, I have a board, and whenever I do some streaming, I move my board out there. And the Polgár book is a great book. However, it also serves as my most heavy book. So I know that my board is not going to slip out and fall. I have, however, done that book a lot. And I will say the beautiful thing about the maiden twos is they really help your visualization. And I consider them to be like the layups of chess. So if you're going to be a basketball player, you need to practice your layups. And to me, the maiden twos are kind of like the layups. Another couple things we have. Chess Chopin saying, I'm packing my bags to go to the Ukraine right now, Mykhaylo. So there's somebody coming. And Dave Road is also in. And Cappy says, put it in writing. Let's get it done. So I really think, yeah, especially I would love the chess vacation.
Yeah,
Sounds great.
let's go.
I think we have to book with Mykhaylo.
Oh my
There's
goodness.
funny jokes.
Now though, I didn't have to do that. Yeah, it's back.
Okay.
We're back again.
See.
Yeah, apologies for that, guys. We should be
No,
back.
this- Yes,
Yeah.
we are back.
This is the wonder of technology. Yeah. Don't worry, Jesse February. You know, one thing I just have learned to be very zen-like.
I was doing some official stream for European Chess Union,
Yeah.
and with my laptop, and then in the middle of stream, after 2 hours, I think I had to restart my laptop for 10 minutes at least.
Oh my gosh. 10 minutes is a bit hectic. Yeah, we should be back now though. I did restart the stream. Yeah.
Let's see.
Oh yeah, it's coming back.
Yeah.
Yes,
I think
we
we're
are
back
back.
It gave me the same problem yesterday, but it's just on my end that I have to fix. No problem.
Hmm.
Thank you. Thank you.
Welcome back, everyone.
Yep.
The wonders of technology. Yes, Kepi Corleone. Yeah. Yeah, I was just saying offline that we take technology for granted as if it's supposed to work flawlessly all the time. And if any, even little things go wrong, because it reminds me, I know I'm following a little bit of American comedians. And back in the day, there was a famous Louis C.K., and then there were lots of scandals he was involved, and now he's not famous, but his jokes are still good. So the joke was that he was on a plane in US, and they only introduced, so the captain says like, we have internet online now, not online, internet on the plane, so you can fly and you can check your email or even watch YouTube in low quality. And people are like, oh wow, that's exciting. So that was several years ago, I would say. And well, and then the person next to him allegedly just turns it on and it's not working well, and he's like pissed. Oh, come on, this is ridiculous. And you didn't know it existed 5 minutes ago, and now you expect it to work flawlessly. So I think we've doing something similar here.
Yeah.
So I'm very happy if it's working. If it's not, well, what you gonna do? It's
flip the table. That's what we're gonna do. Yeah. Gone forever. Yeah.
Can we our board and maybe analyze?
Yeah, let's look at some stuff.
Yeah, so we have the chessboard in front of us, and the game I have uploaded is between Donald Byrne and Robert James Fisher in 1956, I think it is. And we also have a lovely picture of Fisher at 13 years old here from 1956. I think it was just taken around the same time. Some nice black and white photo there of little Bobby.
And where can, oh yes, no.
That's a very rare photo, and I can tell just from the pieces that is actually from the game itself.
Yeah.
The bishop on c5 there. So that's I haven't seen that one before.
Game of
his arms are so small. He's got little giant arms.
Oh my god. Couldn't reach the other side of the board. Yeah.
So maybe GM Jesse, you take us through the game.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Now, first of all, let's just make sure do you see the pieces moving?
Yes.
You do. Okay, good. So, famous game. I'll say I saw this game for the first time when I was a kid, and it definitely felt very magical.
Sorry.
It's funny. Yeah, game of the century is such a bizarre. Well, I don't know. It's not a bizarre claim, but it's always going to be controversial. The interesting thing, one of the interesting. There's a lot that's interesting here, but let's start with this position. So move 11 from white here, and I think that it's this next move, bishop g5. that in hindsight, like when I first saw this game, I didn't really appreciate this, but I think in hindsight, like it's this move, bishop g5, that feels suspicious to the young Fischer and to maybe a lot of chess minds, that it's just you're moving the developed piece twice and it feels
You're
like
not supposed to do that.
yeah, don't do it. Don't do
Like
it.
that's like the last thing you should consider moving a piece again. Just develop the bishop, play some forcing move, but quiet move bishop g5, arguably improving the bishop. Yeah, I don't like it.
And I think the motivation from Byrne is that he wants to stop knight fd7. And so that's what's, and by the way, you know, we all know this from personal experience. When you play a weird move like bishop g5, it's always the one that you probably spent 15 to 20 minutes thinking about. Right? You start worrying in this position about what Bobby's going to do. Obviously, he just played a very natural bishop g4, and so knight fd7 seems like the next move. And then you start thinking and thinking and thinking, and then you come up with bishop g5.
Exactly. I think first candidate move here for white was
Right, for
yeah,
sure.
I'm sure that second candidate was bishop g4.
So we could reboot. I don't know.
Okay, we should be live again.
Needed some heads up.
Oh, I'm so sorry, Mykhaylo.
It's okay.
Okay, so I'll drop the study in the chat. Oh my gosh! Careful. Don't...
Did you know that that's a good way to stop this? Just raise your one arm, and keep your one down. It like works 100%.
Wow, I know. Just to look up, like.
Oh, thank you. I did not know that.
In Georgia.
Yeah, apparently something is stuck there. Just some asymmetry is needed. When you do this, something like goes, and it's just it's good. Always working. Unbelievable. I usually slap people on the back, and it didn't work. But
okay,
that's
so
what I was
slap
told
them in the
as a
face?
child. Yeah, sure. Or kicks them in the butt. Maybe that would work.
Okay.
Where were we? Aha.
We should be back. Bishop g5. Yeah. Apologies, everyone.
One thing I should put out there, a thing that I notice a lot as a coach is that I feel that especially anybody, even up to 2200, sometimes even past 2200 level, the most common mistake I see is the lack of respect for time, for tempo. And so one of the great things about this game is when you're playing players of that level, you will often see them give away time. And they're partly encouraged to give away time because they see super GMs sometimes giving what seems like they're giving up time, but they're doing it in a very rarefied air when those top GMs are doing it, right? They're doing it with very concrete and interesting reasons giving up time. So what I really see at the lower levels is that giving up time is just a terrible, terrible trait of that level. And if you can train yourself to not give up time, you'll really improve. And not only that, but since you're going to be playing against people who are giving up time themselves, you want to train yourself at punishing that lack of time. And so I think, you know, when you're a chess player and you see your opponent play bishop g5, that's when you might think to yourself, oh, maybe I have an interesting opportunity here. And that encourages, I'm sure, for Fischer, even at the young age, encourage the violence that's about to happen with knight a4. And I think for myself as well as a player, it's so many victories have come, especially if you play hyper-modern openings, like any kind of Indian, where you're encouraging your opponent to take space and in return you get time. You're going to have a lot of games won by somebody not appreciating the fact that they've given away time, like bishop g5.
Yeah, I would like the next game to be Grishchuk Ivanchuk. That's that Ivanchuk Grishchuk that I sent to Jesse, because that time in well, it was not a good follow-up after this game.
Right. And then punishing it is honestly all about going to Lvov and doing a study session with Grabinski and Oleksiyenko, because I'm going to say, like, knight a4, it's an interesting thing. Like, how much do you, let's ask ourselves the question, how much does Fischer need to see to play knight a4? I think the first thing is you don't need to see that queen a3. You don't need to see everything after queen a3. That's the first thing I'm going to say, because after knight takes c3, even if you don't take on e4 on move 13, let's just go ahead and show people that. Even if you don't play knight takes e4, you're still doing great. So I think the only thing you really need to see in order to play knight a4 is you need to say to yourself, my knight is not the greatest piece on a4, right? And that you just need to see that, let's do this variation, that knight a4,
Still didn't work, sorry.
knight e4, you need to see that works out
You
for
should
you.
promote the line, Jesse Kraai.
Oh, okay. Let me just
Promote
get
the
this.
line.
I'm hoping
Yes.
Did that work? No.
Let me try doing that. Did it work?
Okay, now you did it. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, take us through, Mykhaylo. Why takes e4 work out for black?
Are we?
We got stuck again, guys.
I am afraid so.
It should be on. There's nothing bad on my end. Able to handle anything anymore. I don't know what's wrong. I'm gonna have to check it out tomorrow. But I do really want to say sorry and thank you guys. I'm gonna have a chat with Alex just to straighten things out. But yeah.
Yeah, if anyone can hear us, we apologize for this.
Yeah.
It could happen to anyone. Hope for your understanding, and tune in next week. I would say yes. I think that's it.
Yeah.
Bye.
Right.
Okay.